Alright, chat. Let's talk about Skirk teammates from what I've done so far. Let's put all the Hydro and Cryo characters and talk about them. How much attack speed is Chongyun again? Eight. My god, that's dog shit, huh? Anyways, Chi-Chi, we'll just have her, because she's technically Cryo, I guess. Let me know if I forget anyone, by the way, chat. Mona? You're right. Child? You're right. Skirk herself is obviously gonna be in the fucking teams. Alright, who am I missing? Grizzly? I guess, yeah. Hydro Traveler? No. Is that it? Yep, alright, cool. Okay, so, yeah. This one is gonna be no surprise to anyone. Escoffier is, like, by far the best teammate for Skirk. And Farina's the second best one. In a perfect world, you'd never really play a Skirk team that doesn't have both of these characters. And then, best fourth slots are Molani, Yelan, Citlali, Mona, Dahlia, Molani. Yeah, Molani's actually the best fourth slot from what I've looked at so far. Other than C4 Mona, but a lot of people don't have that, so. Shenhe is one of the worst ones, but she is there too, I guess, yeah. Like, 2% behind isn't too bad. Sure. There's a very little difference between all of these, basically. I think Singto makes it too. Like, 5% isn't that far behind. But Singto's like borderline. But you do get more defensive utility, I suppose, so it's fine. One Molani, what does she provide? I mean, she's just TTDS plus scrolls. But the thing is, Molani's burst is, it hurts. Like, it's actually not a bad ability. And it does a good amount of damage, even if it doesn't Vate. Her burst takes 10 years. Yeah, but that doesn't matter when you don't need to rely on Vate timings. Right? Like, her personal DPS in this team is like 8k, which is not completely insignificant. Like, it's not a large number, but it's not complete, like, it's not nothing. This is the reason why she's above the others. If it wasn't for that, she'd be below. How is she getting her energy back? We have Farina on the team. Buckaroo. And she has scrolls. So she gets the refund from scrolls, too. You do her normal attacks or just bot? This is a E and 1Q rotation. But I also looked at a quick swap Skirk with 15-second rotations that do 2 full chomps plus Q on Molani. And it was honestly about as much DPS total. The damage gets concentrated a little bit more on Molani. She goes up to like 21k DPS. Skirk goes down to 53k. But the overall team DPS is like pretty much the same. Alright, quick swap Molani 114k. Normal Molani 115k. It's pretty much the same. Still on TDDS, yup. Even on Quick Swap, where you spend more time on Millennium than Skirk, Skirk is doing like half the team DPS. And then the rest is split three-way between Molani, Iskofi, and Farina. How low is C0 Mona? Where the fuck is she? This one. About 4% behind Yelan. Is it just DDS carry? Kinda, yeah. It's basically just that we don't have a good last slot. Mona giving 20% attack, about 40 damage percent average, and 48% attack from TDDS is just competitive with other options. Because you don't have a great last slot. Why is Shenhe so bad? Shenhe's numbers fucking suck. That's why she's not very good. You just admit that if she's keeping up with Yelan and Shenhe, Mona's actually... Buddy! Yelan is worse than fucking Mualani, okay? You can't be telling me that Yelan is great for this team. Alright, bucko? Like, come on. I understand, okay? Like, you like Mona, you're happy she finally has a team, you want me to stop saying bad, negative, and mean things to her. But, like, dude. Without C4, Mona is worse than Dahlia. As C6, yeah, it is. It's probably about as good as non-C6 Dahlia. Is Shenhe that bad? I mean, yeah, you gotta understand, okay? A lot of Shenhe's value comes from the quills, but the numbers on the quills are dog shit, right? Like you look at the stuff that she gets, right? If we go to the Shenhe sheet, right? If we just remove the quills altogether, we're do 92% of our damage. If we lose the damage percent she gives, we're also doing about, what, 93% of our damage. Her quills are worth about as much as, like, 30 damage percent. That's not a lot. On the Skirk main sub, everyone is glazing Shenhe and saying she's the best force. Not really. Weird. Weird. Is that Fab Noblesse Shenhe? Yeah. Alright. I think Nvidia goes here as well. Right? Nvidia team is Burst Skirk? Yeah, it is. Okay. So Rosario goes here. Chongyun goes here. Ayato goes here. Ayaka goes here. Candace. Did I do a Candace calc with Esco Farina? I don't think so, right? Finale, Candace. Yeah, makes sense. Maybe Singso needs to be here. I don't know, man. Because, like, the gap between Yelan and Singso is fucking 5%. The gap between Singso and Ayato is 10. So, it feels weird having Singso here in the same tier as Ayato. Especially because the gap between Singso and fucking Shenhe is like 2%, 3%. Wow, yet another 87% team. Who could have seen that one coming? We should also do Mika. Big. You know if Zaj adjusted the Ayato calc for attack speed from his burst? What attack speed from his burst? Buddy, are you a fucking whale Ayato using Ayato support? That's C4. That's C4. That's based. That's true. That is kind of based. I'm not adding Charlotte. I know it's gonna be dog shit. Like, all she gives is TTDS. %87% curse. I'll put all the fucking 87% there. I do think I'll put this here, and I'll separate these into Candace, Lila, Ganyu, Kokomi. Hayato. Why is Sinto below Molani? Molani is outright the best 4th slot right now. It's fucked, okay? And the main reason why she's better than Citlali is because your default setups let Molani trigger Cinder City, but they don't let Citlali trigger Cinder City unless you swap the Citlali before Escoffier. But if you do that, you're not TTDSing Skirk. The fact that Molani can get swapped into, proc Cinder City, and then immediately swap to Skirk just makes her the best slot other than C4 Mona from what I've calced so far. Gotta use Citlali Sig instead of TTDS, but I don't know if it's even better. Skirk's teams are very saturated in attack or in damage percent, and they're not saturated in attack percent at all. Although I guess you are buffing the rest of your team's damage too, right? So it's probably fine. But it's definitely not good. Right? It's what, 28% damage? No, it's only active party member. Wow, it's ass, isn't it? Like if I go to Citlali, I guess right now I'm doing Fav Citlali. If we lose the Fav, we have to go Fav on Escoffier. We get 28 damage percent. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Her Sig is not an upgrade in this team. Because you're too saturated in damage percent. So 28 damage percent is just way too small to be that big of a deal. Will make the rotation easier. This rotation is not harder because we're doing Fav. Like this is Fav Citlali. Wandering Evenstar. I don't think Wandering Evenstar would be better than Fav though. Fav is good in this team. It helps you a lot with your Escoffier and Farina your requirements. Without Fav on Citlali, you kind of have to run Fav on Escoffier, which kind of guts her damage. We really don't have an undisputed best 4th slot. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was saying earlier. We don't really have a great 4th slot. Yes, we do, Shenhe, baby. But Shenhe is worse than Molani, and worse than Yelan, and worse than Citlali, and worse than Dahlia, and worse than Mona C4. So, like, I don't know about that one, Chief. Is this not Yelan's ideal team? Is she just worse because of numbers? She's worse because Skirk is too good, basically. The more characters are focused on their personal damage, the less... Like, the more carries get fucking inflated numbers, the less value there is to be found in off-fielders whose main thing they're providing is damage from themselves, right? Yelan's buffs are pretty small. And her damage is okay, but it's not amazing in a team like this because it's hard to justify 2E Yelan. If you do 2E Yelan, you extend your rotation length and you're actually losing DPS. Yelan is still good, don't get me wrong, right? It's like a fucking 1% difference with the other ones, right? Like when you look at the actual good ones, right? Between C4 Mona and Shenhe, which is the best and the worst one in this tier, right? It's a less than 5% difference. I don't understand why is Shenhe that bad. Her numbers just suck, right? She provides the quills, but the quills are the equivalent of about 30 damage percent. She provides 30 damage percent, but only to Skirk, not to the rest of the team. And she provides 15 shred, but it's 15 shred when you already have a lot of shred from Escoffier. And so the actual overall value that she provides is the equivalent of about 60 damage percent plus the shred. So she's pretty much increasing your overall team DPS by like 20%. Like if we completely remove Shenhe, let's go to the Shenhe sheet and assume that we're not introducing ER issues by not swapping into her. If we remove everything that Shenhe's providing, we're doing 80% of our damage. That means that Shenhe's whole presence on the team is 25% more DPS. Actually, no, I forgot to remove the noblesse. A little bit more, right? It's 30% DPS from Shenhe. TTDS plus Cinder City already makes up for most of that gap. And so as long as your TTDS plus Cinder City character is doing pretty much anything in the team, it'll be better. Right? You only need 9% more from all the character does. Shenhe, or Molani does that in personal damage, but then she also helps your ER requirements more in the team, because Farina's ER requirements are actually more of a problem than Escoffier here. I'm gonna have to fucking fix it manually, won't I? Why didn't the Control-Z work properly, man? Noblesse. Thank you. Yeah, I just forgot to reactivate Noblesse. Is Xingqiu really a tier below? It's hard to say, because it's like, it's so gradual. The decrease is so gradual. Because, like, you could say that forever, right? Xingqiu is only 2%, like 1.5% behind C0 Mona, 2.5 to 3% behind Shenhe. Is he really a tier below? I mean, Chongyun's only 2% behind Xingqiu. Is he really a tier below? Mika's less than 1% behind Chongyun. Is he really a tier below? Nevilet's fucking 0.04% behind Mika. Is he really a tier below? Rosera is only 1% or 0.3% behind. Is she really a tier below? Ayaka's only 2% behind. Is she really a tier below? Candace is only 1% behind. Is she really a tier below? Lila is only 1% behind it. But, like, you know, it fucking compound. You gotta fucking draw the line somewhere, you know? And I decided to draw the line at 95. Below 95 is a tier below. What would Skirk's optimal force slot look like? Imagine if Dahlia wasn't dog shit. Like, an attack speed giver that doesn't suck would be pretty fucking great. Is DPZ her best set for C1R1? I'm not sure. I guess I should check that. I had some C1R1 stuff somewhere. 4 full strings plus an N1 is what I had. So let's add DPC. Any substitutes for Citlali? I mean, you can do Yelan. Yelan's gonna give you some damage percent, Pog. Or, I mean, yeah, you can do Rosaria, sure. So this is her Sig set, this is DPC. Yep, it's noticeably better. It's not quite Malachal Say, but with Malachal Say, you're so likely to overcap that her best set at C1R1 probably is DPC, yeah? You do charge attack to DPC? Yeah, you just charge attack before you EQ. What's the assumption for C1 triggers? For now, I'm assuming 7 rifts. Why is her Sig set so awful again? If you have C1 plus, the C1 damage is charge attack damage, and charge attack damage is not buffed by her signature set. Only normal attack damage. What should they change on Skirk's kit to make not only the deep galleries her best in slot set? I mean, they can't really make it her best in slot set all the time, but if they make it at least affect charge attacks as well, or if they make her C1 normal attack damage, actually. If they make her C1 normal attack damage, at least it's not going to be bad for C1R1+. Does DPC stay the best all the way to C6? Maybe? I feel like C2 Skirk is probably best played in quick swap teams. And in those teams, her Sig set is good because all your damage is burst, or at least most of it, I guess. The C1 damage is still not burst, but you don't get as much of it. Quick swap, Grizzly. Grizzly definitely goes in the don't. But yeah, so this is basically how it goes. I demand hyper fridge. Fine. Oh, Charlotte died. Fucking loser. What? But it did damage to me twice! Alright, I think that's gonna be it for today, chat. I hope you enjoyed your stay. I hope you had a good time. I'll see you guys tomorrow.